Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the fire. This is a photo that comes to us from 2003 at the Station nightclub in Rhode Island, and it shows the band Great White as they perform. While this seems like just a regular photo that someone took on their Motorola Razr, what ensued shortly after this photo was taken is absolutely tragic. Basically, as the band performed, there were some pyrotechnics that were set off, and while this was meant to be a spectacular display, it only ended up in disaster. The fireworks ended up setting all of the flammable acoustic foam in the walls and ceiling on fire, and within 1 minute, everything that was combustible was up in flames. Within 2 minutes, the entire club was fully engulfed in black smoke, and people were having trouble finding exits. In the end, this fire took the lives of 100 people, and another 230 were injured as a result. It has gone down in US history as one of the worst and most deadly nightclub fires.
Coming into number 9, we have the Silver Disc Over the Mountains. Sounds like a band name or a good album name. Further back, but clearly in the same sort of area topography speaking, I came across an image of a man taking a picture of a strange silver disc in the sky. The image is purportedly from Area 51, and it certainly looks like it could be. I'm aware that this image very much could be photoshopped, very easily photoshopped, but perhaps the story I have to tell you will inspire you to give it the benefit of the doubt. There is a road near Area 51 that has been renamed the Extraterrestrial Highway. It's a 100-mile stretch of State Route 375 near Rachel, Nevada. It was given its whimsical rebranding in 1996. Along this highway, countless people have reported seeing mysterious lights in the sky, especially during the 80s and 90s. Even today, night drivers are baffled by the so-called moving stars. Could it be a UFO similar to that allegedly in this picture? Maybe. But what might this be at number 8? We have what I can only describe as the metal wall. This image was posted in National Geographic and is a declassified image from Area 51. The footnote on the image reads full-scale model assembly 1159. Now this leads me to believe that this image was taken in November 1959, but honestly, I don't know that for a fact. Although the image is in black and white, which does make me think it's an oldie. While it may be an oldie, it certainly does look futuristic. This could be an early stage development of a spy plane. In fact, I put my money on it. Coming into number 7, we have Beam. We are an ultralight beam. We are an ultralight beam. Honestly, sometimes I do stop to wonder if Kanye West is an alien. Like, he's pretty successful whilst also being a bit strange and aloof and otherworldly. I don't want to be the one to start an unsubstantiated rumour though. Anyway, before we stray too far into salacious speculation, have a look at this ultralight beam legit image taken at Area 51, and I want to know what's going on here, and is Kanye West behind it? This black and white image was published as part of a series of declassified images of Area 51 published in National Geographic. Again, context is king, but we simply don't have any. It's hard to tell if this image was taken outdoors. It's kind of blurry and distorted from the light. It could be taken outdoors, but also that could be a curtain backdrop. I just can't tell. If it is a curtain, then perhaps this was taken in a studio, in which case what Hollywood grade stuff is being filmed at Area 51. Some people think that the moon landing was staged there, and if this is a studio with a massive model UFO, then maybe. I think I simply need more information. Coming into number 6, we have the floaters. Doesn't sound great, does it? In April 2016, large, bizarre, and very much unidentified flying objects were spotted over Area 51. Allegedly, anyway. There are so many fakers and conspiracists out there that it's hard to know what to believe. 3 oblong objects were said to have been caught on film from a distance hovering over a hangar. The footage was uploaded to YouTube but has mysteriously been deleted. A still shot of the video, however, does remain. Why was the YouTube video deleted? Did we see too much? Maybe. The real question though is, what are these? Coming in at number 5, is that the TARDIS I see? The Doctor is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey, and he is constantly time travelling. The Doctor is a Time Lord from the planet Gallifrey, and he's constantly travelling time and space and encountering other aliens, so it stands to reason that the extraterrestrial may end up at Area 51 at some point. It seems like his TARDIS may have been spotted there in recent years. Have a look at this. Some are hailing this image taken of Area 51 legit, and actually it is, it was taken on Google Earth. Some people think it looks like an alien tower, but others like me are straight up calling it a triangle TARDIS. You can find this image yourself if you type this into Google Earth. On estimation, this structure is around 70 feet high and 30 feet wide, and I'm wondering if, Doctor, maybe you're there. Some of the Storm Area 51 memes have been claiming ownership of the TARDIS if it's found there, and to be honest, it has been rumoured that the centre is testing time travel, so maybe the Doctor has been captured there, or at least his spaceship. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I've always wanted to be a doctor's assistant, so if anyone's watching from casting at BBC, take me! Coming in at number 4, we have the pyramid. There are pretty nuts theories out there circulating that aliens built the pyramids. Why? Well, because it would be a feat of strength for humans even today, let alone humans of thousands of years ago. Allegedly, former Area 51 worker Bob Lazar claimed that the building contains evidence that aliens have influenced human culture for over 10,000 years, so maybe it's true. Triangles and pyramid shapes are also linked to New World Orders, and the Illuminati have also in turn been linked to extraterrestrials, so maybe there's something to it. Either way, feast your eyes on this.
Pyramid. This is from Google Earth. You can look it up yourself. You just look up the coordinates.
A Google Earth image of what looks like a pyramid inside Area 51, right here. Curiouser and curiouser. For those of you who want to look at this yourself, put these coordinates into Google Earth. Some people think that this is proof that Area 51 is harvesting alien technology. Other people think that the structure has a much more normal explanation. What do you think? Let me know. Some classic Area 51 conclusion stuff here at number 3, we have the morgue. Of all of the pictures on this list, of this one I am perhaps the most skeptical, but it is a true classic. This is one of those proof of aliens for reals images circulated in the 1990s. It's kind of a lot like the alien autopsy video. This image was said to have been taken by a whistleblowing worker of Area 51 and leaked to the press. The only thing is that alien bodies like this are so easy to fake. In fact, even the alien in the alien autopsy video was a model, so these very well could be too. Creepy models that I wouldn't want anywhere near me. Still though, the image could have been staged and taken anywhere in the world, and honestly, it probably was. That being said, maybe it's legit. Maybe we're trained not to believe in things like this by the powers that be that don't want us to. Coming into number 2, we have the Silver Pod. YouTube channel Explore With Us ventured to the land surrounding Area 51 in June 2017. The channel shared exclusive footage with their 700,000 strong following, which claimed to show abandoned secret tunnels around Area 51, which looked something like this. Weird. To me that looks like an old sneaky cheeky secret rail tunnel, and I'm wondering what it was used for, like smuggling aliens in and out? Question? Later on in their adventure, the YouTubers also spotted this very odd sight hidden in the trees. Take a look. To me it looks like a silver ball on a triangular plinth. Also, it's in the hills surrounding a top secret facility. What does this really mean? Is it some kind of alien communication device, or watching device, or listening device? So many devices it could be. Okay, finally, do you want to see a very scary sight from Area 51? Check this out at number 1, and perhaps let it be a warning. We have the bikers.
Centimeters?
I knew you should. I know.
Listen, we're gonna give you guys a chance, okay? Get on your bikes, get the out of here. We'll call Lincoln County, and they'll write you each a $750 ticket.
Okay.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if you just rolled up at Area 51 and tried to see them aliens? Perhaps a little precursor to the whole Storm Area 51 thing. I wouldn't recommend it for this very reason. Meet the bikers who were about to be met with bullets, but made a very lucky escape. Dramatic footage was uploaded to YouTube of a biker group who rode up to Area 51, kinda brazenly. As you can see from these images, they were met with quote-unquote camo dudes. The camo dudes come from nowhere in a white jeep and quickly jump out and point firearms at the intruders. The guards tell the guys to get the F out of there. The video from MacD Adventures has had over 7 million views, people love it. This isn't the only instance of this kind of response caught on camera either. YouTube channel Third Phase of the Moon uploaded this video featuring this hairy moment. So that's a response that people get when it's just a few of them swinging by Area 51. What if 3 million people did turn up and quote unquote storm it? I mean, if you're gonna have guns pointed at just a handful of people, what would the government do? Honestly, it's a question that I'm not sure we want answered.
Kicking off the list at number 10, William Thomas Stead. Born in 1849, William Thomas Stead was the son of Congregationalist minister, and at the age of 22, he was appointed as editor of the Northern Echo, a regional newspaper in Darlington. This British medium, Richard Borsonov, featured a photo of W.T. Stead and a spirit. Or a demon. One of the two, both pretty terrifying. While William was investigating a spiritual case, he took this photo with what's supposed to be the spirit of Pete Botha. Now, the reason many believe that maybe the spirit is evil is that Stead later on died in the Titanic. He boarded the ship to take part in a peace congress at Carnegie Hall, and survivors mentioned William Thomas Stead a few times. Apparently at dinner, he was chatting his way throughout the entire 11-course meal, recounting exciting, spooky times in his life, even mentioning a cursed mummy that he encountered at the British Museum once. That's a little odd for table talk. He even gave his life jacket to another passenger that night too. Stead would often claim that he would one day pass due to hanging or to drowning. And right before he was to be awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize, he passed away due to the latter. Was he cursed? I believe so, to be honest with you.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the core. This photo shows a physicist named Harold Agnew, and while this looks like a relatively normal, non-threatening photo, what he has in his hand is truly devastating. Harold is holding the nuclear core of what was nicknamed the Fat Man atomic bomb. This means that Harold is holding the nuclear core of the atomic bomb that was later dropped on Nagasaki in 1945. The immediate blast, of course, took many lives, but so did the long-term effects of the bomb, like radiation illness and that sort of thing. It's crazy to look at a photo like this because it seems so perfectly normal when he literally has a life-changing, world-ending device in the palm of his hand. Also, I don't think I could ever hold something like that. Not only would I just not want to, but I don't think I could even get near it for fear of something going wrong. In our number 8 spot today, we have the eruption. This is a photo that is showing Mount Pinatubo, which is located in the Philippines on June 15th, 1991. That is the day that this volcano erupted into what would be the second largest volcanic eruption of the 20th century. Certainly impressive, also extremely terrifying. This photo shows the pyroclastic flow full of hot gas and rock being flung into the air. Eruptive activity in the volcano first started on April 2nd of that year, which prompted researchers to set up seismographs in the area. By June, the volcano was having a group of progressively shallower eruptions before, on June 12th, the volcano had its first spectacular eruption, which sent an ash column 19 kilometers up into the atmosphere. Additional smaller explosions continued on June 13th, which then led to some intense seismic activity. After more highly gas-charged magma reached the surface, on June 15th, the volcano once again exploded, this time sending the cloud of ash 40 kilometers up into the atmosphere. Volcanic ash and pumice blanketed the surrounding areas, and pyroclastic flows filled what were once deep valleys with fresh volcanic deposits. It is truly magnificent and extremely powerful, and this photo shows just that. In our number 7 spot today, we have post-war. This is a photo that is said to have been taken in 1946, just after the end of the Second World War. Story goes that the person in this photo is a soldier who had just returned home from war, which would already be difficult and challenging enough, but as he returned home, he came to hear the news that unfortunately, despite his survival, his family had lost their lives during the war. There is no doubt about the impact that either world war had on the world, and how the impact doesn't stop once the war is over. These wars changed the course of history, and they changed people's lives forever. This is definitely a difficult photo to look at, and it's an eerie reminder of those dark times. In our number 6 spot today, we have the disguise. Speaking of the Second World War, as it began to come to a close, many of the Germans who were involved in all of the many violations of human rights began to flee or try and hide or disguise themselves for fear of being persecuted. One of those was, of course, the worst of them all, Hitler himself. This photo, or rather series of photos, was created by the US government as an attempt to document the many ways that he could have disguised himself in order to escape being recognized and captured. At the time, the fear of him being able to escape responsibility and go on living his life abroad was very real. I mean, there have been others who actually did manage to do just that, and that is exactly the reason for these photos. There's also something kind of interesting and bizarre about what happens when we take away the features of his that we know him by. In the end, he didn't escape and go on to live abroad, but he did escape being held responsible before the world. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Titanic. We all know the story of the Titanic. I mean, it's one of the most famous in history, and this photo comes from just before the historic iceberg encounter. On April 10th, 1912, the Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage, heading from Southampton over to New York City. The ship took a couple of stops along the way, one in France, one in Ireland, before setting off for the United States officially, and somewhere along the beginning part of its journey, someone was able to snap a photo of the ship as it sailed. It's not clear exactly where this photo was taken, but it is thought to be the last photo taken of the ship before its tragic end. Considering it was only 4 days after the ship set sail that it hit the iceberg, it is likely that this photo came not too long before the terrible day. In our number 4 spot today, we have the lipstick killer. This is a photo that comes to us from December 10th, 1945. If looking at this image gives you a shudder down your spine, that absolutely makes sense, as it was written by a terrible person known as the lipstick killer. This photo is an image of a note he left written on the wall at one of his crime scenes. The photo comes from the apartment of Frances Brown, as just before he wrote this message, he took her life. After this message was left, he ended up taking the life of one other person because he was finally caught by the police 6 months later. The message scrawled in the photo reads, "For heaven's sake, catch me before I kill more. I cannot control myself." It is an absolutely chilling note with a horrific backstory. In our number 3 spot today, we have bad politics. This is a photo that shows the former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, and you may or may not be wondering who that man next to her is. And to that I say, my friends, that is the horrible, horrible monster that is John Wayne Gacy, aka the Killer Clown. This photo was taken at a Polish Constitution Day celebration in Chicago in 1978, which is the same year that Gacy was arrested for his crimes, so at the point this photo was taken, he had already taken the lives of at least 20 people. The reason he was there and was able to meet the First Lady is because he was not only the worst of the worst, he also somehow became the Democratic precinct captain in the Chicago suburbs in the 1970s, and he was the marshal of the Polish parade. The picture is even signed, quote, "To John Gacy, best wishes, Rosalynn Carter." It's terrible. I hate it so much. I feel very bad for anyone who had to meet him. In our number 2 spot today, we have the first day. This is a photo that shows Dorothy Count Scoggins as she joined her new school. What should be a perfectly normal activity was certainly anything but for Dorothy, as she was the first black person to attend Harding High School in Charlotte, North Carolina, which was previously an all-white school. After the passing of the Purcell Plan in 1956, there were 40 students who applied for transfers, and Dorothy was one of 4 who was accepted. This photo clearly shows that although small steps were being taken within the law to prevent segregation, there were no steps being taken within the students. As Dorothy just tries to get an education, you can see her peers clearly trying to disturb her peace. After 4 days of this kind of treatment, Dorothy's parents ended up withdrawing her from the school over fears for her safety. These images, however, were seen around the world. This photo acts as quite the reminder for where we were really not all that long ago. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Challenger crew. This is a photo that was taken of the clearly very excited Challenger crew as they walked down the ramp ready to head off on their mission. The crew even included 37-year-old Krista McAuliffe, who was a high school social studies teacher. She had won a spot on this mission through a program with NASA called the Teacher in Space program, and she had trained diligently for months in order to be the first non-military person in space. On January 28, 1986, the Challenger mission proved to be fateful just 73 seconds after liftoff. 2 rubber O-rings failed because of the cold temperatures of the morning, and on live television the world watched as the spacecraft broke apart and plunged into the ocean, sadly taking the lives of everyone on board. It is an absolutely tragic event made even more chilling by this final photo.
Alright, coming in at number 10, we have the blast-off chair. This is officially a declassified black and white image of a secret Air Force project taking place in the desert lands surrounding Area 51. In this image, we can see the United States Air Force running a very exciting test indeed. We see a car and an aerodynamic-looking vehicle together, and then a whopping great chair that seems to have blasted off with a person in it. Maybe it's the dummy. Up and away. The plane-like vehicle says Test 24 on it and has a camera monitoring it. We don't know exactly what's happening here. I think context, I imagine, would be key, but we don't have any. If you think that mountain range looks familiar, here it is again at number 9.
What do you guys think? Number 9, demonic boy photograph. It doesn't matter where or when, but odds are you've probably seen this photo at some point. All those late nights when you're scrolling through Reddit, you've probably seen this at some point. I know I have, and every time I see it, I'm kind of like, it looks pretty real. It's pretty haunting. You know when you see a photo, sometimes you get bad vibes, like it registers in your brain as something scary and real. Like you want to find something that looks fake about the photo, but it's tough. This photo was taken inside the Amityville house in 1976. It appears to be a young boy or ghost, spirit, demon, whatever, with glowing white eyes. It was taken with automatic cameras equipped with infrared. And it makes it even creepier that the boy looks like he's peeking around the corner. Like he knew something was coming almost, he didn't want to get caught. That's the creepiest part here. A photographer named Gene Campbell took it, and Gene was working with paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren at the time. Yeah, the famous duo now rocking the big screen Conjuring universe. This was a real thing. They were on this case in real life. This photo was revealed 3 years after it was taken, and it was revealed on the Merv Griffin show. Imagine seeing this on a show, like Jimmy Kimmel whips this out. It's like, hey, we're gonna play Plinko. Check out this demon. Many believe this is the ghost of John DeFeo, one of the boys who lived there prior during the 1974 event. Now we're still trying to cover this one, but what do you guys think? Is this an elaborate hoax? Is this a young boy? Or is this one of the many demons that was said to haunt the house? Sound off down below. Number 8, the SS Watertown. This picture here perhaps is one of the creepiest on this list. I'm not sure what to think of this one. It comes from 1924 and it shows what appears to be two older men, or two older figures almost. I don't know, it's water, it's hard to tell. Some believe it's James Courtney and Michael Meehan in the water. Now the two had previously died and were buried at sea, hence that's why their first thought was them as to who it was. Other crew members saw these strange faces in the water as well, so when they turned back to get another look, 5 out of the 6 photos showed nothing. This was the only photo that showed what they saw. Are these the two lost crewmen, or is the vessel haunted by sinister forces? Number 7, backseat driver. This photo is from 1959. Okay, it was taken by a lady named Mabel Chinnery. And the photo at first glance is just a classic 60s shot of a man in a car. That man was Mabel's husband. Now the man in the back seat, however, that back left seat, we have no idea who that was. Her husband apparently was the only guy in the car at the time. And also, that's a pretty tough angle. If you wanted to recreate this photo with your friends after work, like try this. This is a really hard shot, even with phones now. It would be hard back in the day. It's like he's appearing to us through the seat almost with that angle. So either this is a lie, which happens often, people can lie, and a man was sitting in the back left seat, or like Mabel thinks, maybe this is her dead mother-in-law. Now, if she had said father-in-law, I think maybe it was his spirit, but this for sure looks like an older gentleman with a collar or something. Kind of looks like, dare I say it, the devil. I don't know, I read a lot of comic books. Number 6, Coventry Society Demon. You may be thinking, some of these may not be demons, Taylor, maybe they're just nice spirits who stuck around after they passed. Yeah, while it's nice to believe that, photos like this convince me otherwise. This is from the Coventry Freeman Society, and it shows everybody at this event dressed to the nines. But when you look at the top left corner over here, you see a hooded figure. Somebody that clearly doesn't belong with the vibe in this room at this event. Nobody else was seen also at any point at that night wearing a hood like this, so of course many believe it was a dark part of the afterlife photobombing this event. Honestly, I totally believe that. This is a weird one. The hood, maybe I've been watching Harry Potter lately, I don't know. Maybe it's a Dementor, we actually don't know. Number 5. The ghost pilot. Oh, this one gives me the creeps. I'm hoping it's just a friendly ghost. I included it because it's kind of nice, but you never really know, honestly. This one, I did some research, it's creepy. Any sort of spirit, I don't welcome. Yeah, I don't gamble on the afterlife. I'm actually all set. The ghost pilot is a photograph that shows a spirit from 1987. A woman named Mrs. Sayer was visiting an airfield in England, so of course, she did the classic tourist thing and got a photo in the cockpit. We all do it at some point, but do you ever think of who may have died in that exact spot before? After the age of 10 years old, I was like, you know what, I understand ghosts, I'm not gonna sit in that tank. I'm good, thanks. People swear the Titanic was a cursed ship and that spirits were responsible for the ship's bad luck. Now, next time you wanna sit in the pilot's seat, look around for spirits, because this image was developed and it appears that somebody or something was in the helicopter with Miss Sayer the whole time. Number 4, the Paris Demon. Originally, the tunnels under Paris were built for stone mines, but near the end of the 18th century, it turned into something haunting. Cemeteries were starting to fill up, and I mean that in a literal sense, and humans didn't figure out how to be clean, so bodies would just be laying on the sides of the roads. They started to pile up over time, so the solution was to use these catacombs. They were no longer needed for those mines anymore, so might as well use them as a mass graveyard. And now we have the scariest basement in the world. We have walls of skulls that on one hand, it's cool as hell, it's natural history, it's gothic yet beautiful, but when Google Maps tried to give a user an up-close look, it seemed to have caught a shadowy demon figure. With more than 6 million souls laying down there, it doesn't shock me to hear about something like this at all. There's a video of the street view, and in it you can see this figure. Check it out yourself. Number 3, demons are us. For this next one, we'll be going down the Lego aisle. Yeah, how fun. Haunted Toys R Us. Can you imagine all those toys starting up at night by themselves? Bay Area's Haunted Toys R Us is no longer a thing. Thankfully, as of 2018, that location closed down, but its tales, they live on forever. The Sunnyvale Toys R Us demonic presence appeared in the background of this photo. But of course, like others on this list, the people present at the time of the photo swear that nobody else was there. It's like everyone has bad memory, everyone has good memory. I can't really tell right now. It's like, could this be a spirit or a demon caught on tape that just happens to be at a Toys R Us? I vote yes. Employees talked about creepy things happening there at night all the time, and the Sunnyvale store is indeed haunted by more than one ghost. That's what people say. The store stood where the Murphy farm once stood, so many think the spirit is the ghost of Johnny Johnson. I don't know, the fact that Ouija boards are a toy that is commonly used to, I don't know, communicate with spirits, maybe closing these doors was the best call. I don't think we welcomed in any good spirits. I don't think any spirits are clocking in for work, you know what I mean? Now it's closed, so I'm like, it didn't work. Whatever we tried, didn't work. Number 2, ghost boots. These boots are made for haunting, and that's just what they'll do. Yeah, I put a pair of boots on this list. That's where we're at now. This photo of a young girl may look like a classic family trip, but upon closer inspection, it seems like somebody or something is standing behind her. Now, of course, her father said that nobody was behind her at the time that it was taken, and I agree that, and like honestly, and I believe him. Honestly, that would be pretty weird if he was like, hey, can you stand right here? Yeah, you behind my daughter, don't move, but you stand right here in this open field, thanks. Ka-ching. I don't believe it, I don't buy it, it's weird. This shot was taken at Zushi Zenagawa, Japan, and you can see boots and what looks like clothing sticking out from behind the child's elbow. The kid's father said, I took a few photos, and when I was looking through them at night, I noticed the boots behind her. I took several photos in the same spot, but only one of them had boots. You always see that in movies, right? At night they're going through and they see like it's 2 a.m. It's never at a Walmart while it's being developed. They don't find these photos in a bright, busy area. It's always in like a dark kitchen. Ugh, it's creepy. So he freaked out and then put it on Reddit, and then now we're here. Full circle. And finally coming in at number 1, cave drawings. I know these aren't photos, but come on, there's nothing more eerie than humanity's origin, right? Let's do it, let's go back, let's turn the clocks back. And for archaeologists from around the world, this cave system in France doubles as the world's oldest art gallery. These Paleolithic paintings are haunting to look at. They were created from humans about 20,000 years ago, and it's now considered a heritage site. There's many of these caves around the world. So if you're thinking about sneaking down there in the Lascaux caves and taking a look yourself, well, you better think again. The cave was opened originally in 1948, but due to carbon dioxide levels from visitors, it was closed in 1963. Learning about our history is challenging, and when it's slowly fading away, that surely doesn't help. Just gotta hold your breath while you read. This is crazy. I'm currently reading a book called Supernatural by Graham Hancock, and in it he tries to dig through history to find the origins of spirituality, and markings in caves like these ones from ages ago definitely help. They resemble these demon-looking creatures almost, and this is long before religion. These drawings were supposedly from hallucinations, but many believe it's one of the first accounts of a demon interacting with a human. It's just drawn on a cave wall. Pec Merle is a cave in France that also has these strange drawings, and some say they resemble aliens, others of course voting demons.